Great Australian Ted Evans dies, aged 79. Tributes are flowing in for one of the country's economic giants, former Federal Treasury Secretary and Westpac Chairman Ted Evans, who died on Sunday morning. Evans, 79, was instrumental in delivering major reforms to modernise Australia's economy and financial system from the 1980s to the 2000s, helping set up the country's long-term prosperity. He had been battling cancer and had been visited by family and close friends at a Canberra hospice in recent days before passing away. Former prime ministers, treasurers and top bankers on Sunday paid tribute to one of the nation's finest ever public servants. As a senior Treasury official, Evans was a central player in floating the Australian dollar, labour market flexibility changes, deregulating the financial sector, major tax reforms such as the goods and services tax, central bank independence and budget consolidation for the Hawke, Keating and Howard governments. Evans later chaired Westpac through the 2008 global financial crisis and oversaw the takeover of St. George. Former Prime Minister and Treasurer Paul Keating said Evans was a model public servant who was a central member of the Hawke-Keating Labour government's radically changing Australia's sclerotic command and control economy into the competitive and flexible one we have today. Ted Evans believed in policy innovation and was always brave in breaking formerly forbidden policy ground, Mr. Keating said on Sunday night. Big cuts to marginal personal and company tax rates, the introduction of capital gains and fringe benefit taxation and dividend imputation. He also supervised the changed taxation treatment of superannuation. Ted was always restrained but invested with fierce beliefs which he held in a vice-like grip. Belief and persistence were his strengths which he employed in powerful advocacy. Former Liberal Treasurer Peter Costello, who reappointed Evans as Treasury boss, said Evans believed in serving the public and had left an enduring legacy to Australian economic policy. The balancing of the budget, the introduction of the GST, microeconomic reform, Mr. Costello said. He was a source of great strength and he believed in freeing up the economy. He nurtured a whole generation of Treasury officers who were in the finest traditions, such as Ken Henry and Martin Parkinson, who went on to become Treasury secretaries. He was well loved. Evans and Keating remained friends in recent years. Evans also recalled working with John Howard and Mr. Costello to deliver the long-awaited GST, which Hawke and Keating abandoned at the 11th hour after the Labour government's 1985 tax white paper that Evans helped draft. In June 1999, Evans was made a Companion of the Order of Australia in recognition of service to Australian economic policy development. Evans entered hospital in Canberra in February and spent his final days in palliative care at Lake Burley Griffin in the nation's capital, near his longtime home in Queanbeyan. A larger memorial function is being planned for future months when mourners can congregate in larger numbers to pay tribute to Evans. Former Treasury senior economist and friend Peter Downes said, "I think pretty much everyone who knew Ted admired him. He was well loved.